Okay, and now we're recording. All right, cool. So basically, I already gave you guys a kind of a briefish overview of what I wanted to talk about. It was literally just centered around like gaming and like you were saying earlier, Maddie, about like mental health concerning gaming and this, that, and that nature. But since this is going on YouTube, I want you guys to just like kind of give like a brief introduction of yourselves and give your IGN and or what you go by, and we could start with Maddie and then Quinn and then Siren. Just like a brief introduction about yourselves.
Okay. Well, I'm Mads, or on socials, it's Queen Mads with a V. I've been a variety content creator for a couple of years now. I used to do League of Legends, but I retired that. And I primarily focus on indie horror games and Soulsborne games.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Quinn.
My name is Quinn. I go by one air on most of my IGNs. I was a high level League of Legends player. I did coaching and boosting, kind of just am a casual gamer now because I have a full-time job. Used to stream as well, but haven't in quite some time.
And last but not least,
Yeah, I'm Siren. I go by Sleepy Siren on all my socials. I am a late night variety streamer on Twitch slash wannabe ASMR artist. And yeah, I have just a community of nerdy adults.
oh yeah, the best uh, chef's kiss community. Okay, so just like to give us kind of like an idea of where everything started with you guys, like when was the first time you kind of realized that, oh, this is gaming is a thing for me, like I love this is like something I really enjoy? Like when did that happen? I guess whoever wants to like go first, or maybe no, maybe I'll go first. So I know with me it was more so of like, since I grew up in a household where my mother worked a lot, like 12-hour days, and I do have siblings, but the age gap was like 10 plus years, so I really didn't have anyone to like hang out with as I was growing up or anything like that. So I do remember like a family friend bringing over like Pac-Man, and I used to like sit and just like play Pac-Man all day and all night just because I just thought it was so fun, and I just like the music. And it also like made me very competitive because it had like the high score system, and I was just trying to go to the next level and the next level and the next level. And that's essentially like how it started, going from that to like Sonic, to like different other games, like playing the Xbox, playing Halo, Monkey Ball, Jet Set Radio. Like I played like a variety, and that's kind of like how it started for me essentially. Um, so I don't know who. I mean, maybe Quinn could go next,
Yeah,
or Siren, whoever. I
I mean,
don't.
I don't mind.
Hmm.
I guess I can start by saying that it's sort of like a difficult question for me to answer because I don't know around what age I got into gaming officially. It sort of just feels like I've been gaming my whole life. Because I started really young. So I grew up in a household with my dad, who was like a stay-at-home dad, and he was very hands-off. So he sort of like left us to our own devices, and sometimes that meant buying us devices that we could play with.
Hmm.
And I had an older brother, and we often spent time with like his friends or my older like male cousins who were into gaming. And so it just sort of like was always part of my life. I want to say the first maybe game I can like recall playing was like Pokemon Blue or something on like the Game
Mm.
Boy Color. Like vividly recall like actually playing through. But we had like Nintendo 64 and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've just sort of been gaming my whole life. Fell in love with it as a kid and just haven't stopped.
Wait, so question. So with Pokemon, this is
Mm,
very important question. What starters did you
yeah.
normally pick? What type?
Oh, that was tough. I feel like at first I just went with like all of them at one point. Like I would like restart the game and start it with a different starter. It's hard. Like I feel like I probably picked Squirtle as my first starter, but I was
Mm.
also watching like the Pokemon like show, and I found out that there was like a female Charizard. I don't know if you guys remember that episode. Her name was like Charla, and like Charizard was like down bad for her. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a female Charmander and name her Charla. And so like I just been like back and forth, and nowadays I just pick whichever is cute. Like it doesn't really matter.
I grass starters all day, baby. All
Not the
day.
grass
Yeah,
starters.
bro,
Come
I
on.
love the grass starters, bro. Grass starters, I'm telling you, man. Trico, fucking Bulbasaur. I mean, like even the new I forget what it's called in the new one. Spring Sprigito, something like that. But yeah, grass starters all the way. But okay, what about you, Maddie? How did gaming kind of get introduced with you?
Yeah, I mean, similar to Siren, it was my dad, but kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. My dad has been a gamer, God, forever. And one of my earliest memories was playing Diablo 2 with him.
Ooh,
A lot of people's first games were like Pokemon or Zelda or like Mario, you know? And for me, it was Doom and Diablo. Um,
Doom.
yeah, yeah. My mom was not happy about that, but but no, he's always enjoyed games, and those were my first. And then we got into the Elder Scrolls series. My dad actually used to mod Oblivion for me because as a kid I wanted to be a vet. So he modded a Daedra vet clinic for me to play around in Oblivion on, and over time, my brother, because he's younger than me, he got into gaming too, and we got a GameCube and an Xbox, and no one else in my family really plays games. I have a cousin who started to get into it now, but it was just my brother and I. And so that's how we bonded. My dad traveled for work, so he wasn't home all the time. And when he was, that was like our bonding time. That was how we hung out. And he's still a gamer to this day. We play different games, but it's funny. So it's been forever. Gosh.
I'm actually like so envious listening to that because nobody in my family game, like not a single person. It's actually kind of crazy, especially because I know like the gaming definitely contribute to the bond between you guys as well. I'm pretty sure. So it just was that's man, I'm jealous.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Actually, during the Game Awards, because the Game Awards just happened,
Oh yeah.
they showed a trailer for Diablo 4, and he texted me and he was like, "Did you see the trailer?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm watching it too." And he was like, "I'm pre-ordering it right now. I want the beta access." I was like, "Go for it." And he was saying hi to all my friends because they were like, "Your dad plays games." So I was like, "Yeah." And so it was just a bunch of screenshots I sent them of my dad saying hi and like dropping a bunch of random Diablo references like a nerd.
Wait, there's a question. So does he do like D&D stuff as well? I was just wondering.
He doesn't do D&D. He usually does like just Diablo or Guild Wars. Those are his two main games, and every once in a while he'll hop on and play some stuff with my brother, depending on I don't know what all they play. They set up their own game times. He's interested in D&D. I think he might have played when he was younger, but he doesn't actively play.
Mm. Okay, okay. Oh, that's dope. I wish I was in some kind of family game. That sounds like the life. But okay, Quinn, let us know, how you started gaming.
Yeah, so for me, it was slightly different. I started off on like kind of arcade style games and never really enjoyed them. And
Mm.
I had a really cool neighbor who actually kind of got me into gaming. He took me down to Blockbuster during the release of COD 4, like sometime in like
Ooh.
2007. And they actually hosted a tournament. And whoever won the tournament got 4 free copies of COD 4.
Mm.
And me and him and his two best friends actually just annihilated everybody that was there. And at that point, I realized I was kind of good at video games, but that was like literally the first time I'd ever played Xbox. And yeah, so it started there. After that, he kind of was like my gaming mentor. He started off on COD 4 and then like got me on Modern Warfare 2. And then he showed me how to JTAG Xboxes, and I was flipping and selling Xboxes to kids at my middle school, like back in the day.
Wait, you were
For
hustling with
like,
it too?
yeah, so
Okay.
I started like straight up hustling. I was doing JTAGs for like $50, so you could have every game on Xbox for free. And
Holy.
then it just kind of got into like teaching myself how to code, and then I became like super competitive because I was really good at COD games.
Wait, how old were
And
you
then
when all this was happening?
I was probably like 11, 12
Oh,
years old. Yeah.
oh my god.
Um, yeah, and then it kind of transitioned into me building my first PC, which I built off of a whole bunch of laptop computer parts that I like took apart, and
Mm.
then finally got into PC gaming. I played League of Legends like season 2 on a trackpad and like an old crusty laptop, and then slowly just worked my way up to have a nice setup.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's definitely like. So wait, you didn't play any games at all until you were like 11.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed
Jeez.
to for like the longest time. I had an older brother who like used to play like Grand Theft Auto and stuff. My parents would never let me touch it.
So wait,
And
did you ever play any like the old classics like Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, any like
yeah,
the
yeah,
older
I
games?
definitely like played quite a bit of like older N64 games and stuff.
Okay.
But I definitely never had like a console until like probably like 2007 when I got like my Xbox. That
Mm.
was like the first thing for myself.
Okay. Okay. So here's my thing. Like since we've all like played like I'm pretty sure a good amount of games, out of like all the genres, what do you say would be your favorite? Like Maddie, what do you think?
For me, anything like fantasy or spooky. I really, and I'll blame it on my childhood, but any like dark fantasy aesthetic will immediately interest me.
Mm-hmm.
And horror is a genre I've always gravitated towards. I like trying to be scared, I guess. And so anything spooky or fantasy will almost guaranteed to catch my attention.
Okay, okay, okay. What about you, Siren? What's your favorite genre of games? Gotcha.
So my taste has changed. No, I actually have a genre. I came up with it just now.
Okay.
But my taste has changed over time. Like I want to say as a kid, I was more so into, like the Nintendo games, the more lighthearted games, and as I grew, I got into the more mature games like the Halos, the Assassin's Creeds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I played like a variety of games growing up. I want to say when I first started streaming, I was more so into horror games, but now as I am maturing, I've discovered that my gaming genre is hot anime boys. And so I would say any game that has a hot anime boy in it is my genre. So
Not the thirst
I
trap
am
genre.
simple. Yeah, the thirst trap
Oh,
exactly. Like
I
that's
respect it.
that's just who I am and I have accepted it at this point.
Understandable.
Hot anime boys. Okay, okay. So wait, oh wait, no. So you like well, I guess he's not an anime boy, but you like Link though,
Link is cute. Yeah, especially Breath of the Wild.
huh?
Yeah, he's a cutie.
Oh, okay, okay. Hot anime boys, and then we got
Oh
horror fantasy.
man.
Okay, Quinn, what you got?
So for me, it kind of started off as like first person shooters were definitely like my go-to for a while, and then I started realizing that I don't necessarily have like a genre of gaming that I prefer,
Mm.
but it definitely has to be something that's either like cooperative or an MMO that I can play with friends, because I definitely don't enjoy like solo player games. I think
Really?
it's more of my competitive nature. I like being like that annoying friend that's really good at games. So like even fighter games, love fighter games. Like I used to play like Naruto and like Mortal Kombat. As soon as my friends stopped playing because they can never beat me, I just quit. I was like, no, these games are trash. So like I'm definitely just whatever is multiplayer that I can fuck around with my friends and just have a good time.
Okay, so
I,
oh, go
I don't
ahead.
want to take over for you, Jabo,
Mhm.
but who's your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Oh, you talking to him, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I loved Mortal Kombat growing up.
Ah, man, I think it would depend. Like if you're going on like the old style Mortal Kombat, it was definitely Noob. He was by
Okay.
far my favorite.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. What
Noob
about
in
you?
Mortal Kombat 9 was lit. All
Mm-hmm.
the yeah. For me, I was a big like Sonya Blade and Sindel fan.
Mm. Okay, yeah, yeah. I, I don't really like playing those characters, but I definitely watched them, like watching them be played. I think older. Mortal Kombat, I was just like the basic like Liu Kang character. I just like playing Liu Kang. I mean, and as the new ones came out, I really, really, really adored Aaron Black.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron
Yeah,
Black was
he's cool.
so sick to me, man.
Annoying.
He was so sick to me.
I
I
don't know if
loved
there's
him
an
so much.
uncool Mortal Kombat character.
I didn't like. I didn't. What's his name? What's the? He's like
There's
the
definitely
merchant
one I can
guy.
think of
I
on the
didn't really
top of
like
my
the
head.
merchant guy. Oh, I didn't like the dude with four arms either. I didn't like him that much either.
Oh, Goro.
Goro, that's his name. Yeah, and I forget who the evil merchant guy is with the one eye. That you know, I can't think of his name right now. Is
I'm
it
not a
King?
Reptile fan. Reptile.
I actually like Reptile. I actually like Reptile. Reptile was kind of cool. Katana I feel like was very cool as well, but she doesn't get played that much. Okay, so being that we were talking about Mortal Kombat, do any of you guys have like a favorite game of all time?
Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
I actually never played it. Funny
So
enough,
good.
I have
So
never
good.
played
It's my comfort game. Like, if I'm ever like really stressed out or sad or something, like it just, I don't know, makes me feel comfy and cozy again, and I love the world.
it. The only Elder Scrolls game I actually had the time to play was Skyrim, and Skyrim was amazing. But I didn't like Elder Scrolls Online though. That's for sure. I did not enjoy that game, but Skyrim was really good. Siren, you have a favorite game of all time?
I hate this question.
Uh
I
oh.
hate it because if you had asked me this question before, I believe, let me see if I'm getting this correct. I think it's January 25th of 2019. I
Oh.
would have said the Kingdom Hearts series is like my favorite game series, so I love everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and then I'm like, oh, maybe it's not my favorite game series.
Wow.
So I want to say I have a deep love of everything Kingdom Hearts outside of 3.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, my current obsession is Genshin Impact. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would say it's my favorite game of all time, but until I have that,
Mm-hmm.
it's what's keeping me happy.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite game of all time currently is still Kingdom Hearts 2, and that shit came out in 2000. What 8? It was 9, 8 or 9. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
probably.
Yeah, and that's still like my favorite game of all time. So, but yeah, no, I haven't touched 3 because of what you're saying, and a bunch of other people have told me, and I'm just like, man, do I really want to ruin this for myself? Like,
Yeah, I honestly, if you're not trying to play it, you don't need to play it anytime soon.
oh my god. Okay, Quinn, what do you say, sir? League of Legends.
Oof. I mean, like, I don't know. I played League for probably like 11 years in total and made an absolute incredible amount of money off of League.
True.
But I would probably say, like, currently it's probably Apex.
Really?
If you would have asked me like 8 or 9 months ago, I would definitely said League for sure because I put so many years into it.
Mm.
But I think I sunk like almost 500 hours into Apex in like 4.5 months, which is kind of nuts. So I think I finally found a game where I'm not good, and it is extremely frustrating, and my competitive monster inside of me has been going crazy. So I've been
Mm.
having a ton of fun with Apex lately.
Mm. So you like you enjoy the challenge of getting good, and then once you get good, you're just gonna quit the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god. Okay, buddy. So with that being said, right, and since you said like you spent 500 hours, so can you think in your mind right now the longest gaming session that you've ever had, Quinn? Like the longest straight session of you just sitting there and just playing the game. I mean, yeah, you get up and go to the bathroom and eat and all that kind of stuff, but you were just sitting there and you just played the
For
game,
like Apex or in general?
just in general.
In general, I did a 72-hour League of Legends stream, and I didn't sleep for 3 days, and I played all the way through it and had somebody bringing me food, and I did an unranked to masters, and I almost did it in 3 days. I hit like D2 on a fresh account.
Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
god.
But I didn't sleep for 3 days straight. Sat there and played 72 hours of League of Legends,
Who did you
and it
play?
was It was I literally just was one tricking Lee Sin. It was
Oh
like
man.
back season 9 or 10, but yeah, that was the definite longest session I ever had. And I actually had a close second place though because the day Borderlands first dropped out, I actually ditched school and straight up like probably maybe 40, 45 hours worth because it was going into the weekend and
Mm.
had like almost 48 hours of Borderlands when it first released.
Well, you blew me out the water. My longest gaming session is 30 hours. That's as far as I went. I was also playing League. But yeah, though I definitely 30 hours. I was like tapped after 30. What about you, Siren? Longest gaming session.
Oh, I could not tell you because while I do love gaming, sleeping is my favorite hobby of all time, hence my name. Uh, if I'm like thinking back to like my like high school days, I got super into this MMO called Mabinogi. I believe it's like
Mm.
Korean or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to say like that is probably a game that most likely spent maybe 24 hours playing at a time, or like if not, then like I would take a nap and then immediately get back on. Like I just go AFK. So I think probably Mabinogi, I had a long session of just straight that.
Yeah, I played Maple Story, but I know about Mabinogi for sure.
Yeah.
Maddie, what you got for us?
That's a hard question for me because I've played so many games and had so many like random hyper fixations. I would say the most like or the span of time where I definitely would have had super long gaming sessions was when I was in high school. You could bet like Friday the second I walked into my house, I was not doing anything but finding games to play, whether it was like no lifing Black Ops Zombies with my brother, or my
Ooh.
friend would come over, my best friend, I got her into like scary games. I don't know if anyone here has played like the OG Slenderman, like the 8 pages, but it was just super bad graphics, but it was so scary, and we would just play that all night long and try to scare ourselves, or Mortal Kombat or Elder Scrolls. I know when Skyrim released, my dad and I went to the midnight release at GameStop, brought it home. I played it all night. I think I slept a little bit in the morning, kept playing it, and on that Monday, because it came out on a Friday, I skipped school to still play. So,
Jesus. Did everybody skip? Siren, did you skip school to play games? Because I know I didn't skip
Oh,
school to play
absolutely not.
games.
I went to a private school,
Oh,
so my
okay.
parents would have killed me.
Nah, I know. Well, awkwardly enough, going through grade school all the way to high school, I actually never missed a single day of school. I got a reward for it and everything. I was like, oh shit, I didn't think anybody cared that I was here every day.
Nice.
But yeah, I had never missed a day of school, like sick and all. Like I was still going to school. So, I mean, but anyway, that's my little flex. Uh, I can't, I can't really ask Quinn this question because he already answered. But would you guys, Maddie, Siren, would you guys say you're competitive when it comes to games?
for me, not really. Like, I'm competitive towards myself. Like, I like improving and I like getting really good at something. I like taking other people's challenges
Mm,
and proving them wrong, I guess.
mm-hmm.
But when it comes to, I mean, that's honestly probably why, like, I will never ever climb in League. I just don't care enough. Like, the energy that I could put into that, I would rather, like, do something that's more fun that makes me feel personally accomplished. Like, Dark Souls 3, I'm working on 100%ing it right now. Like
Mm.
that's something I really want for myself, but when it comes to like competing against other people, I like being good at stuff, but it's not something I'll invest a ton of time into really.
Well, I could also say that like being competitive in like a game like Dark Souls would be like, I guess, speed running or something like that. I guess that was like be like one of the few ways to compete, or
Hmm.
it is kind of hard to compete in like single player games though. I
Yeah,
guess it's
yeah,
way easier.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's more so a competition against myself to like do things and challenge myself, but not really against other people.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Sorry? Are you competitive?
Absolutely not. I do like challenging myself, which is why I play most of the games that I stream on like the harder difficulty, just to have that own like personal challenge. But yeah, I've just never been a competitive person. I'm more of like a cooperative games kind of
Wait,
person.
wait, wait,
And
wait,
I, mm-hmm,
wait. I'm
yes,
sorry to
yes,
cut
yes,
you off.
yes.
I am so sorry, but I remembered. I remembered. You remember we were playing the Pokemon MOBA? You were actually
Oh my
competitive as
God.
shit.
Listen,
I no no
listen,
no. I
listen,
remember.
listen, listen,
I remember
listen,
she was
listen,
screaming at the
listen,
game.
listen. Listen, listen. That was that was just a phase. It was like my era. I've never played a game like that before. But like, hear me out. I stepped back. I decompressed. I did some meditation. Yeah, I just don't think the competitive life is for me.
She
Mainly
was League of
because
Legends
like,
toxic, Maddie. She
no,
was legit. Like she
listen.
was like this stupid fucking Machamp. How do I was like, oh my god.
Listen. Listen, it was a phase. I grew out of it. I never experienced it before, and I grew as a person. No, I want to say most of my life I haven't been like into competitive gaming or anything like that because of like a it's like a thing where I don't like to lose. Like losing feels bad, but also like beating somebody else also feels bad to me. Like I have that sort of like complex where it's like, yeah, I won, but that other person lost, so they probably don't feel so good, and now I don't feel so good, and so like I've just never like yeah, played a lot
Okay.
of competitive games like that, and so I prefer like cooperative sort of like teamwork kind of games. Like I want to say things like DBD are sort of like the furthest I go. And yeah, I did get toxic in Pokemon Unite, but like we're moving past that.
It happens though. I have a caveat to mine
Yeah.
though. I will go out of my way to try to beat my brother's ass in
Oh my
any
god.
game. Like that's when I'm the most toxic.
So are y'all
Like
competitive or not?
especially not really, but it's just my brother because like he gets the same way with me. Like my friends, whoever, I don't care about being better than my friends. Most of my friends will always be better than me at video games, but my brother, no. Like the last time we played Mortal Kombat, I wiped the floor with him. I was like, "Yeah, eat shit, fucker. Go find a corner and cry in." Like, but
Oh my
no.
god.
Not
What the
competitive,
fuck?
by the way.
Not competitive, but okay. Well, I don't even know what the point of asking that question was because we're going back
We
and
got
forth.
some mixed reviews here.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like Quinn. Like when I beat somebody at a game, I just want to watch them squirm on the ground beneath my feet. Just like yeah, weakness, and just move on to the next person. So I am definitely very competitive, but I think I mean it's more common in like I think guys though. I think we just are naturally competitive just because Giga Chad, so moving along, since everybody in here is competitive, I figured out. uh, so do you guys have like any like I know this is might be not everybody's thing. It's definitely my thing, and I started to appreciate it more when I grew up. But do you guys like have any favorite like OSTs from games?
Um,
Mm.
well, like same answer, but Elder Scrolls music will always get me hyped, and it's so satisfying. Like when I would study in college, like I would just throw on Elder Scrolls music. But I got into the Souls games only this year, and I will say Dark Souls music is absolutely goated. Like absolutely goated. I did not know it went that hard, and it goes incredibly hard. So that's probably a very close runner up for me.
What do you say, Siren?
Yeah, Persona
Oh yeah.
5 in
Oh yeah.
particular. Yeah, that OST is fire.
Oh
I like
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts, simple and clean, Sanctuary, all that good stuff. But I've recently discovered that Genshin Impact actually has some pretty like lit music as well for a supposedly mobile game. Like they go kind of crazy with their music too. So,
Mm.
yeah. But I want to say probably Persona 5 is my top since I like more of those songs.
Oh, definitely. Persona 5 had bangers, and I haven't even beat the whole game yet. And I'm just like, I'm like,
Mm.
dang, why? That's like, dang, why the music gotta go so? I'm not even playing the game. I'm just listening to the music, like for real,
Mm,
for real. Quinn, what about you? I'm interested.
Ooh, I would say none of the games that I hyper fixated on during my gaming career and endeavors necessarily had great music. Most of them you didn't want to have music on if you wanted to be competitive, like shooter games or League and stuff like that. But
Mm,
there was a game back in the day and it was called Katamari,
mm.
and it was this game where you pretty much just rolled this glue ball around and you could pick up buildings and trees and the ball just got bigger and bigger. That thing had some banger soundtracks.
Katamari. I don't think I ever
It
heard of
is
that.
hilarious. It's super old. It's back from PlayStation 1 and regular Xbox era, but
Hmm.
super simple game, and they actually had some pretty
Oh, so
interesting
you just
songs in
rolled
there.
stuff around?
Yeah, you literally just
Oh, I see.
eventually pick up the entire world, and you can pick up galaxies and stuff.
What
It's
the?
stupid, but it's fun. For a game back that long ago, it was pretty good, but the
you,
music was actually pretty hype.
you know, this remind looking at that, it reminded me of like I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but it's called Billy Hatcher. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. It was like a dude in like a chicken costume that used to go around like hatching eggs and like getting all kinds of weird power ups. It's like Billy Hatcher and the giant egg, and he literally had like an outfit on where he like looked like a whole rooster or chicken. But it was on the GameCube, so that's why it just reminded me of that.
Oh, that sounds familiar. I had a
Yeah,
GameCube,
yeah,
so
no GameCube.
maybe.
Believe it or not, to me, GameCube had like, if not the best, like one of the best controllers. Like
mm.
controllers, like people might not care about like the way a controller feels, but like I definitely am like big on like how the controller feels when I was playing on console. Like that's why I didn't like Xbox so much because I didn't think the Xbox controller felt that great. But a lot of people would disagree with me because the hive mind. But like GameCube controllers and like PlayStation ones like felt great. Uh,
Hey, I liked the thickness of the Xbox controller, even though I have tiny hands. But I just want to say really quick on the topic of music and GameCube, Sonic Adventure 2. I
mm-hmm.
feel like I sleep on that a lot, but that had such good music. I
Yes.
just wanted to
Live and learn.
give
The
that
every knuckle
some
stage.
appreciation. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
all
mean,
the
All the
Zelda
music.
had some good
oh
soundtracks too.
yeah, the Ocarina of Time.
Mm.
Oh, and Twilight Princess too. A lot of people don't really talk about Twilight Princess though. Like, I thought that game was pretty good, but it's like nobody talks about. I hear people talk about Wind Waker. I hear people talk about Majora's Mask. Definitely Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, but like I actually like Twilight Princess. But
I feel like I might be one of the only gamers on the planet that has never played through a
oh
Zelda or
no.
Sonic game.
Oh
Yeah. Or Final
no.
Oh
Fantasy.
wow.
That's another one
Wait,
that a lot of people.
what?
Yeah, I tried I think it was Final Fantasy. uh, It's not
10?
13. Whatever the one was with lightning. It was all about
Oh,
lightning.
13. Oh, no.
13.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I tried that and I was like, yeah, this isn't fun for me. And so I went back to Sacred. That's the only game I attempted. But no, as y'all already heard, my dad was encouraging violent games. So any usual kid games, they just skipped my interest immediately. And
Jeez.
I think we have Breath of the Wild on our Switch. I think I might have booted it up, and I have really bad ADHD, and I couldn't stick with it.
So wait. Do you not like turn-based games?
Not really.
Mm,
Like the only one that I've played through a good amount is called the Banner Saga. You and I talked about it
the
when we were hanging
Banner
out one night.
Saga.
But
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's a fantasy game with turn-based combat, but it's also like choose your own adventure. So depending on the choices you make, it changes like which of your characters live and die and how the story plays out. And so
Right.
it made the combat tolerable for me, but I'm not usually a big turn-based fan.
Mm. Um.
If you like more of that real-time action, I highly recommend if you wanted to give Final Fantasy another try, the 7 remake.
Mm-hmm.
That one I think was really good. But then again, I'm still a simp, like hot anime boy, like I'm gonna play. So yeah, if you wanted something that wasn't turn-based, FF7 remake I thought was really good.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just thinking that
definitely.
too. Yeah, I was
I'm
thinking that
probably
too.
gonna pick up the newest Final Fantasy though. 16. That looks baller. I don't know if y'all saw the trailer they showed at the Game Awards, but it definitely, if it is turn based, the trailer didn't make it seem that way. It looks awesome. And hot anime boy.
Oh. So Quinn, do you like hot anime boys as well?
No, I can't say I do. I'll be honest. I might be a
Or?
little biased here, but hot anime boys are not my thing.
Oh my god. Okay, so now this is where I, because me and Quinn talked about his opinion earlier when I was thinking about doing this whole thing and inviting. He's like, yeah, I got opinions and I got So I want to hear, what do you think is the most overrated game? Like, game that everybody always talks about that says it's so good, and you're just like, nah, this game shit. It sucks.
Um, I'm so sorry, Siren. It's Genshin Impact for me.
Oh my
I
Really?
tried it and like maybe I went into it with the wrong expectations, but I really wanted to play with like a group of my friends that played, and the amount of freaking grinding just to get to the point where I could play with them, and then trying to go into their worlds and them coming to mine. And this was like a couple years ago, so they might have changed things since then, but I think I dumped like 30 or 40 hours into it, and by the time I got to the point of that, I was like, this game's not that good. I'm sorry. Like, it's such a
Yeah.
time sink. Like, it felt very repetitive to me. The story didn't, like, a lot of the characters are really cute, and like Paimon's adorable, and it was fun for that, but I I was like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, I want to say if you don't like Breath of the Wild, you're probably not gonna like Genshin. Like, that's fine. Like, it definitely appeals to different people. I like it for the story, so like I have like a differing opinion on that. But yeah, cute anime characters. I think the story is actually pretty fire once you really get into it. So I sort of look at it more so as it's impressive for something that is supposed to be a mobile game. So I
That I
guess
will give
if
it.
I'm
That
trying
I
to
will give it.
compare it to everything else, then yeah, it's not going to seem as impressive. But for a mobile game, I was like, yeah, you guys went kind of hard on this.
No, that I can totally agree on. The world is very, very expansive and it's cool. And I could be the first one to admit that I just might not have played enough of it for the story to really catch me. I don't remember the name of it. I got to like the rock area with what's his name? Starts with a Z.
Daddy Zhongli.
Yeah, yeah, I got there and I was like, all right, why do you need to look this nice? And then I played around there for a little bit and then I gave up.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you, Siren? What do you think is overrated?
Um, I don't. I have to think about this a little bit more. I feel like I don't typically play games that are overrated. Let me think on that.
All right, Quinn, you got anything
Oh,
for it? You got any overrated games coming through?
yeah, I got like three that come to mind. First off, League of Legends. Completely think it's an overrated game. I was just partially addicted for 11 years. That doesn't matter. But no, I think like one of the most overrated games in my opinion is Overwatch and Overwatch 2. I don't really think
Oh,
Overwatch is a good series at all.
hmm. I can
Um,
respect that.
but it's like the same way with Valorant. I also think Valorant is extremely overrated, but it's more just like that style of FPS games I think aren't good. So I'm a little impartial on those. But those would be my hot takes. I think League is extremely overrated for such a large company to have a game with so many problems is kind of disgusting. If
Insane.
they're making billions of dollars, but they have like the same bugs from season three that aren't fixed.
Yeah, I feel that. I was thinking about it too. Even though I asked the question and I heard all of the opinions, I was like, "Dang, do I really think any games are overrated?" And then one just like shot out to me: World of Warcraft. I tried to play that shit because everybody was overhyping it. Like, this is the MMO of the century. This is the greatest ever. Like, Lost Ark ain't got nothing on this. I tried playing World of Warcraft for maybe like a week. Like, I played the same character all day, like 10-hour sessions for a week, and I was just like, and my friend kept telling me, once you get high level, like the game will be fun. Like, once you get here, the game will be fun. And I'm just, nah, bro. I'm just like hive mind, slave mind playing this game, and I'm not even enjoying myself.
Now that
Yeah,
you
I,
say
I
that, I
agree with that.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
World of
I
Warcraft
tried
is
it
so
too.
boring.
I was already like hundreds and hundreds of hours into Guild Wars, and then I tried World of Warcraft because I had some friends that were playing it, and I was like, man, this shit is ass. Go play Guild Wars. Like, play the superior MMO.
Because I played RuneScape like that. That was like the first game like I got addicted to was RuneScape. And they were like, "Oh yeah, it's like kind of like RuneScape, really. Like you would probably get into it if you like RuneScape." And it's just like, okay,
See, to defend World of Warcraft just like slightly, I don't like WoW whatsoever, but I will agree it is a game that if you did not play it starting back in the day, it would be way too far complex for a new person to jump in and enjoy it. Because there's
Mm,
a lot of things that aren't really like shown well. So there's a lot of things you can sink time into the game for and get absolutely zero progression. And some of the early game for like the newer players is not explained well. So it
mm,
can definitely feel pretty terrible if you didn't play like since day one.
right. I I don't know, cause like understanding concepts and looking at videos, like I did all that for my character, my class. Like I looked at all the specs or what I should be going and what I should be looking for, but it was just like I'm not having fun doing this. I'm just doing it because I'm trying to get some. Like I have a goal, but I'm not enjoying my journey to get to the goal. If that makes sense. So it was just like, why am I even playing to begin with? Um, but if you guys,
I think I have an answer.
oh, okay,
Okay, so it's probably not that crazy overrated, but I'm just gonna say, and this might sound kind of crazy coming from me, I'm gonna say that Kingdom Hearts probably is overrated. Even though it was like one of my favorite games for the longest time, like when I step out of my Kingdom Hearts fangirl-ness and I step out of my simping for Riku, like it's a cheesy ass game.
I guess if you take the
So I
nostalgia away,
don't,
if you take the nostalgia away
yeah,
and then step out after years of
like
playing it, maybe
some of that writing and some of that dialogue, like, ooh, but
you gotta remember the
hey,
audience too, though.
I don't know.
The audience is like
Yeah, it was for like
adolescents.
kids.
Yeah. So I mean, I can even though it's my favorite game of all time in there, but
Yeah,
because I mean like don't
yeah.
get me wrong, like I think Chain of Memories was I think that game was absolutely terrible. I think Kingdom Hearts
Oh, I
one.
I loved it. It had my favorite line in it.
What Chain? You think Chain of
I'm
Memories?
not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Well, I mean, listen, Chain of Memories, I loved it because to me, it was just a love story between Sora and Riku. Like Sora was trying so hard to get his best friend Riku back, and we were like, fuck Kyrie, and I'm like, wow, I really like this. I really like this bromance, this like sexual tension that it's like giving me. So yeah, I loved Chain of Memories, but
Okay, I was
that's
talking
because
about the gameplay.
I
I'm
ship
sorry.
Sora and Riku.
I was talking about the
Oh, I
gameplay.
mean, see how the gameplay is like meh, but like those cutscenes.
Okay, so I see. Yeah, so then we're focused on two different things. That's what.
Yeah,
Okay, now it makes more sense.
Wait, we
Um,
should flip this question.
cute anime boys throwing their feelings at each other. Like, oh, I eat that up.
what were you saying, Quinn?
I was gonna say we should flip this question and say like the most underrated game that like a
Underrated?
lot of people don't know about necessarily, or that like you could sink hundreds of hours in and you could tell somebody and they'd be like, I've never heard of this game in my life.
Well, I know that I forgot to answer a question earlier that I asked you guys. But my favorite types of games are RPGs, hence why Kingdom Hearts is it's that and the third. My favorite. I just think the Tales series isn't really popular enough in my opinion. I think the Tales series is really good RPG games, and like some of them are free roam, and others are like kind of turn based. And then like stuff like Octopath Traveler, like I feel like turn based RPGs or just regular RPGs do not get like enough love in my opinion. But maybe it's because it's not because we're in like this whole like meta of multiplayer competitive games. I think those games will always be the most popular. But nah, definitely like the Tale series. I could say that for sure. That was my next question anyway. I was gonna ask you guys the most underrated one. So shouts out to Quinn, making my job easier.
Hey.
Yeah, what about you, bro? What do you think is most
I
underrated?
mean, I'm gonna have to reach out to the good, faithful
Dungeon
Dungeon
Defenders.
Defenders.
Oh my god! I knew he was gonna say this.
It's such a great series for a game that's actually free, and it has like zero pay to win aspects until like recently, and it came out like maybe like 5 years ago, I think by now.
I love defense
But
games.
it was a pretty cool like tower defense style game, but you're actually like in third person running around, so it's like tower defense plus you actually have like different heroes you can use,
Right.
and it was kind of RPG style, like you have skill trees and stuff, and you could definitely sink hundreds of hours and still have like content to do. So for a free game, it was definitely like top of the list back when I didn't have a lot of money to spend.
You heard that back when he didn't have a lot of money. Now he got the Bugatti in the garage. You know what I'm saying? But okay, Maddie, what you think underrated as hell?
Oh, that's such a hard question for me, but I'm torn between two. One for me would probably be the Sacred games, especially Sacred 2. That's like old action RPG. I think Sacred 2 came out in like 2007 or 2008, but that's another game that I dumped a lot of time into cuz the universe was cool for the time. Like the game visually looked really really well. I thought the combat was great. And it's a game that like every once in a while I have an itch to like try to get again. I don't actually know if it's even on Steam or something, but
Sacred 2 Fallen Angel?
yep.
Mm.
hmm Um,
Mm.
very very good game for the time. I'm scared to try it again though in case it doesn't live up to like my childhood memories of it. But the other one, cuz even though I talk to a lot of people that enjoy horror games, a lot of the time, whenever I mention Doki Doki Literature Club as one of my favorites,
Yeah.
they go they go like, "What?" or "What's that?" And it's like I don't think that game gets enough of its flowers for how creative it is, and I have yet to find, because trust me, I scoured after the first time I played it to try to find a game that did something similar, and I couldn't find anything. I still think that's the case. I just think for what the game did, and I'm trying like very hard to not explain it because I don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah.
Um, no other game has been able to do that,
Mm.
in my opinion, and I think it just deserves more credit for what it accomplished in the horror genre.
Okay, okay. I definitely look at it and it gives me like a it almost feels like a because I'm only seeing like the screenshots of it on my other monitor, but it reminds me of the game that released where it was kind of like a D&D type game. What was it called? Divinity? At least that's what I'm looking at from the screenshots. I haven't like looked at like a video or anything, but
hmm
it definitely looks like something that I would have tried because it came out back in what like PlayStation 3? Is this PlayStation 3
Yeah,
type?
PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and
Mm-hmm.
PC.
Yeah, so I might have picked this up. This looks like something I might have picked up for sure. It definitely does look like it might be a pretty decent game. What about you, Siren? What do you think is underrated? And don't say Genshin Impact.
Is is well, I mean I would, but is D&D allowed to be considered an underrated game? Like
uh,
I
I
don't
would I
know,
would
'cause
say it's the largest like card game there is.
like tabletop, yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, like I feel like I don't have like a an underrated game that I could think of off the top of my head, mainly because I feel like I live in a bubble of people who play similar games. So, like, the games that probably are underrated, I don't see them that way because I know quite a few people who play them. Um, so I don't really know what to say to that. I think it's just something that I'd have to think on more. But yeah, I guess I would just reiterate my point. Genshin Impact,
Oh my god.
again, it's a It's a mobile game, so just look at it from that lens. I feel like that's where its beauty comes through. Like it is uh I can't say another mobile game does something that Genshin does. Like its open worldness, even with the gacha mechanic, I don't think any other gacha games have the same kind of feel. So,
Hashtag ad.
uh yeah, people around me, of course, it's like overrated, but I don't know. Maybe to outsiders it might be a little bit
Soon she
underrated.
will have a percentage of the company. Uh,
Honestly, I applied for a job in MiHoYo. I was like, this game is great. Y'all should hire.
okay. So what, like, out of all the things that you guys played, what do you think like you were like the best at? You know what I mean? Like this game is like I played a bunch of games, but I my skills completely shined through the roof when I played this game. Like no matter what it is, like you were just dumb crazy good at it. Do you have a game like that, Maddie?
Um, the Shrek 2 video game on the GameCube.
Oh my god.
I
Why do I
fucking
remember
whoop
that game?
ass.
Where you could switch between the characters and play them,
Yup.
right? Yo, I
Mhm.
remember
Put
that
put me anywhere in that game, I'll kick ass.
Why do I remember that game as soon as you said it? It's so
No, that game
old.
is goated. Like that game is amazing. I love the shit out of that game. I just looked it up. It still has a
Oh,
95%. Like people like this game. It was a good game.
it was
Like
actually so fun. I remember they made a Nickelodeon game that was similar to that, where you could switch
it
between Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom.
they wish they could be Shrek 2.
Yeah, no, for
Uh
sure. Shrek was definitely
like just better. No. That's my go-to, but I think recently it's the Dark Souls games. I've from where I started with them to now, and obviously there's always still room for improvement, but
hmm
I've found myself like going through a new game plus cycle. The boss in my first playthrough that took me multiple days to beat, I beat it on my first try. Um, I just beat Bloodborne, which a lot of people think is
Harder.
one of the harder
hmm
Soulsborne games. Not as hard as Sekiro, but still hard. And I beat that game in, I think it was about 40 hours, including like base game and DLC. And I do a
Ooh.
lot of exploring. It took me way less time to beat Orphan of Kos, which is the hardest boss in Bloodborne, and some people say the hardest boss in a lot of the series.
Mm.
Beat him in less time than it took me to beat some of the Dark Souls 3 bosses that I struggled the most on in my first playthrough. So it's just little improvements, but I'm
Okay.
proud of myself.
Okay. Okay. Souls Queen. All right, Quinn. What you got? Best game you best at? Skills coming through.
Ooh. Um, I mean, I guess in the competitive aspect, I'd have to say League of Legends because I was rated like in the top 500 of North America at my peak.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
right.
Other than that, I would probably say like Modern Warfare 2 because I stayed on like the top of kills and headshots for like almost 9 months in COD
Okay,
games.
I have a question. I have a question. Okay, because me and my friend used to argue about this all the time when we played COD, right? So, who would you rather have on your team, right? The guy that is let's say you're playing like domination. Would you rather have the guy on your team that's like 13 and 0, right? But doesn't have objective time, or the guy that's like 30 and like 21, but he has like hella objective time? Who would you want on your team?
I would say the 13 and 0 guy, just in the aspect like if your entire team was that 13 and 0 guy, you could capture all the points because no one on the enemy team would ever be alive. But if you only had like one of those teammates and everybody else is going to be a whole bunch of randoms, then probably the capture guy.
Hmm.
So like
Okay.
if you had a whole bunch of people that were just killing everybody and they were really good players,
hmm
then you would definitely want that over the guy capturing. But if you had a whole bunch of like random dudes playing with you and you're kind of like an okay or average player, then the capturing guy is gonna get you the W for sure.
Okay. Cool. That's what I was saying. I was like, bro, like, cause my friend used to always play for KDA. Like he would never like go defend a point. He would never play art. Like he would just always want to not die. That was his whole goal. And I was just like, bro, you got to get out here and like get on the objective. Like we're playing like search or something that you can hide, but anyway, that's besides point. That's an age old argument. All right, sorry.
KDA lover.
What do you think? What game you best at? Genshin Impact again?
I feel like that's. I mean, hey, listen, if we're gonna say if skill is related to how much money you spend on a game, then yeah, I would say Genshin
Oh my!
Impact because I
Wait,
go crazy at
how
that game, mainly because
wait,
I spend a lot of money on that game.
how much money have you spent on Genshin Impact? Is the question.
Probably over $20,000.
Swear to God.
Maybe
Swear to
I'm
God.
maybe not there, but I'm getting there. It's getting there. It's getting to like definitely
S-
over $10,000.
Swear to God.
Swear to God.
It
Because
says
like
that's a
each
down payment on a house.
Yo.
yeah, probably getting closer to that. I mean, I don't know.
Yo.
Probably it's probably between like 10 and 20. I don't know. I don't keep
Jesus.
track.
Oh my
Um
I'm
gosh.
gonna be honest. I've played League for a decade, and I've maybe spent like 3 or 4 bands, and that's a decade worth of playing the game.
It's funny because I
She said
actually, as soon as she said 20
10,000.
grand, I pulled up how much I spent on League because I was like, dude, I have to know. And I spent $3,400 and 11 years playing.
But she said, "Yo." So hey, listen. All I'm saying is that you motivated me because the fact that you got it like that and you still, you still chilling. You know, hey man, she got to spend. I I do
yeah,
not.
listen, I'm simple. Cute anime boy. Like you can have my social security number.
Oh my lord!
Uh
You hear that, cute anime
but
boys in the comments?
right?
Cute anime boys.
But what is it?
Man,
Yeah, I can't say that I play a whole lot of like skill-based games. But I think like just off the top of my head, one of the games that I felt like really in the zone in was probably like World War Z. It
mm,
was like it's kind of like what's it called? Left 4 Dead. It's another like zombie
yeah.
shooter kind of game like that. And I definitely had more moments of like carrying the team, I want to say in that game than any other games that I can recall.
Didn't you also get
So,
Masters in Pokemon Unite, right?
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got yeah. She was screaming at everybody, but she made it to the top. She was definitely cause like you guys, man, I was there for that. She was blocking everybody, reporting everyone. Like, how dare you ruin my gaming experience? Like, block. It was some crazy
I'm sure those are all
times,
bots.
bro.
They're all bots.
It's you called them bots, that's for sure.
That's what people call me.
Jesus Christ. Um. Okay. I kind of want to like like switch the I guess the tempo a bit with like how I want to like kind of approach gaming. So we already kind of know this from Maddie earlier because she was saying more so about like how her dad was into gaming and her family kind of game with her. Did you guys like ever experience like any problems like family wise when it came to you being a gamer, or did you like experience like some I guess loneliness in a sense, or you just felt like you were kind of like weird, or did people give you a hard time, or anything of that nature?
Um, for me, yes. In
Mm-hmm.
like social circles,
Mm-hmm.
not so much like at home because like my dad was really supportive of it. I had my brother, but I was the girl who read a lot and played video games.
Mm-hmm.
And so to other girls who didn't do that, I was just like weird and we didn't have anything to really relate over.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older and gaming got more toxic, I've had like my experiences in multiplayer on Black Ops 1, like as a girl, put me off of FPS games for a very long time. Like for a teenage girl, like very scary threats were made. And I just like knowing that I was the only person I knew that was having those experiences. It made that definitely lonely for a time. And then as I got older, I was just like, fuck it. Like, I don't care what any of you think. I'm just going to
Right.
have fun.
Man, yeah, no, definitely. Like my experience was dealing with playing Call of Duty, and there would be a girl on the mic. Boy, when I tell you, one or two things happen. Either you was getting flamed for existing, or you was getting like they was being like horny boys. They'd be like, "Oh, it's a girl on the game. Like, what's your name, baby? Like this, that, and the third." Like, boy, that shit was that was an experience. I was like, man, you could tell like it was some teenage boy. Like you could tell who boy it never touched, talked to or anything a girl. You got on the Black Ops lobbies and stuff like that.
It was work like for me, it was grown men. Like
Oh,
definitely not teenagers. I ended up in lobbies with like grown men who were telling me that they could find out where I lived, like they were going to wait until my parents weren't home. You can guess where that went.
mm,
Things like that. And that was enough to make me never log back on for a long time. The next FPS game I played that wasn't just like co-op with my brother or my friends was Apex Legends, and it wasn't until Apex came out when I was living with my husband and we played together.
mm, got you. What about you, Siren? You know, how did gaming kind of affect life and friends and family? How did that kind of work out?
Um, yeah, so I didn't have a lot of friends, I want to say, elementary through middle school who are into games, so I was pretty like isolated in that respect, which is why I gravitated more towards the MMORPGs. Um, and in high school, I had more so like nerdy friends, but still like none of them were either like none of them lived close enough to me where we could meet up and play games, or none of them were like interested in the games that I kind of played. So I've sort of been mostly like a outside of when I used to play video games with my brother, I've sort of been like a solo, I guess, kind of gamer, and I would just venture out into MMOs here and there. And yeah, I can't say that I've had any like crazy experiences. Definitely some experiences where I'd look back and be like, ah, yeah, that person was definitely probably a groomer.
Jesus.
But yeah, outside of that, I can't, yeah, think of anything crazy
Wait,
outside
what?
of, just being by myself. Yeah.
What about like parents? Did they?
Parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really care.
Oh, they didn't
Again,
care
my
at all.
dad was super
Oh,
my
okay.
my dad was super hands off. He was definitely the type of dad where he's like, "Yeah, I don't really want to hang out with you guys, so here's like a Xbox, like have fun." I'm like,
Good
"Okay, dad."
Jesus.
Like, I like playing games, so it's fine. Yeah, I feel like that's sort of like a sad thing though, like when it comes to when I look back on my life as a gamer, like I kind of wish that, I had parents who wanted to like I don't know, like play games with me or like
Mm-hmm.
interact with me more outside of like just like eating dinner or the occasional like family vacation. Like I don't know, I guess
Right.
I wish I interacted with my family more.
Definitely. What about you, Quinn?
Yeah.
How was your family, friends, and life as a gamer growing up?
I think, I mean, I did a lot of sports when I was in high school, but definitely after the sports, I would always go home and game. My parents just kind of left me alone. Like, as long as my schoolwork was good, they didn't care. But I did meet, like, my best friend, one of my best friends, like, to this day because of gaming. It
Mm-hmm.
was actually pretty funny because my dad was a mechanic, and I was pretty mechanically inclined back in high school. And I saw my homeboy, who I didn't know at the time, but his name is Pierce, and he didn't know how to change his tire, and his tire was super flat, and he was like the last kid in the parking lot, and I was getting out late from practice, and I walked over to him. I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "I've been stranded for like an hour. My parents aren't picking up. I don't know how to change my tire, yada yada." And I was like, "Dude, let me help you." So I pulled out like my tools, helped him change out his tire, and I saw his check engine light was on, and I was like, "Dude, you got to get this checked, man. This isn't good. Bring it over by my house. Like my dad's a mechanic. He'll be home in like 2 hours, and he'll look at it for you." And he's like, "Oh, bet." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, come on." And I was like, "But first, do you have a laptop?" And he was
Oh.
like, yeah. And I was like, "Do you play any video games?" And he's like, "Not really, but kinda." I was like, "Cool, bro. Go get your laptop and then come over. I'll shoot you my address." And I had him download League of Legends, and he played it for like 8 years after that point, and we definitely like had a good friendship made from that game. But that was just like one of the positive experiences that gaming's brought. But I
Mm.
would say, especially for people that like suffer from more of like the social anxiety or that are kind of introverted, gaming can be rather good experiences to make friends that you don't have to necessarily have like that in-person pressure with.
Hmm.
So never really never had bad experiences with gaming for sure as far as family or friends or anything like that.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, that's pretty cool. I think for me personally, gaming, like I said earlier, it was just like a kind of all I really had because I couldn't really go anywhere where I stayed. I couldn't really go outside by myself because of where we stayed and things of that nature. So it was just kind of just a safe place for me essentially. But I know as I got older, like it got like pretty worse as far as like family because everybody has like the more traditional view of it where it's just like it's a waste of time and you don't really get anything from it and at the end of the day like once you turn it off nothing you really did on it mattered, and it was just like a just more of a traditional way I guess of looking at it, which kind of sucked because even now like at the time that I'm like making like actual money off of it and believe it or not, like you actually learn certain things from certain games too. Like certain games do have stories where they teach you things. And it was a point in time where I tried to explain this to multiple people that used to like ridicule me for playing games, and it went in one ear out the other. They really didn't pay too much attention, but I don't know. I'm kind of glad I had those experiences because it kind of made my conviction for my interests like more solidified because I genuinely know that this is something that I'll always love my entire life, and I feel like all those things were kind of just like a test to see, if I really truly love it. I guess, even though it was like very, very annoying and painful as a kid. Like no girls wanted to talk to the nerdy gamer boy with anxiety and all kinds of like issues, and it was just it was an experience, but I'm in a way. I guess now that I'm older, I'm kind of glad that it happened for sure. Um, but so here's the thing that like I know me and my friends have talked about, and I guess only two of us in here are actually single. So I mean, and it's really bad. But would you
Hey,
guys?
I'm not single. I have 7 husbandos in Genshin, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm the only one that that's single. But what do you guys think based on like, your experiences? What have been like better? Because I don't know if everybody has or not, but would you guys be against, or do you think it's like better to date someone that is not a gamer? Like, based on like, because I know like you guys, like Quinn and Maddie, you guys are both in relationships, and they both happen to be people that play games. But like, were the non-gamer relationships actually like good? Do you think, or were better even?
I can
No.
definitely answer like past and present for sure with that. Like, so for me, I went through like a 3 year long relationship where I was dating somebody who was like also streaming in the era of me streaming. My like most recent girlfriend, she games as well, like mildly. Um, an ex that I had back before I started streaming, she was really into like the gym and she hated gaming, but we at least had that in common. The only time where I didn't have like the gym or like gaming in common, it was definitely a very stale relationship because for gamers, like unfortunately, and I guess fortunately, it becomes kind of a part of your life where you're not necessarily just gonna stop. And it's almost like an addiction essentially because it brings you a lot of joy and happiness.
Mhm.
So if somebody's not willing or wanting or already having that like similarity with you, it could definitely put like a damper on the relationship for sure. So
Mm,
I think that if you are like somebody that's like an ad lib gamer, you're putting up like hundreds of hours in a month gaming, then
mhm,
having somebody that games in the relationship is, I would say, almost pretty important because it essentially becomes like a characteristic trait of your personality. And if you don't have that in common, it will be a little rough at times, I feel.
definitely. Maddie said no. She didn't
No.
no. That's just it. She's like no.
No. I tried. A boyfriend of mine in high school didn't play any video games. He was very into like sports and working out and stuff like that. And that's cool.
Mm,
But it got to a point where like when we would hang out, we had nothing in common to
mm.
like do together or talk about. And I broke up with him because he annoyed me. He was like, "Hey, do you want to like go to the park?" And I was like, "Go to the fucking park? No, I'm playing games." And he was like, "Yeah, you're always playing games." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I do. So, this just isn't gonna work, brother. Sorry." And
Yeah.
it's like it got boring. But no, like I have to have a partner that I can talk about like my interests with,
Mhm,
or they can talk about theirs with me. If those interests overlap, that's even better. I
mhm,
mean, my husband and I play very different games, but we also have a lot of the same interests. Like he primarily plays Apex and Destiny and currently Call of Duty. I don't play those games anymore. I used to play Apex quite a bit with him. That was how we spent a lot of our time together when we first started dating.
mhm,
And at the same time, though, on Saturdays and Sunday nights, sometimes we'll just sit on the couch and we'll play like a story game together. We played God of War Ragnarok.
ooh.
Right now, we're doing Cyberpunk and little things like that. We can still have our own separate times, and we're both introverts, and like we both have our own friend groups. We both have our own interests. We can still talk about it with each other and understand it because it's something we're both interested in, and that's a balance that I personally need.
Nice, nice. That sounds dope. I guess there's no point asking Siren because she made it solidify with
Well,
her seven
hey,
husbands.
listen, I can at least give the singles perspective, right? I will say though that dating for me, I feel like is kind of hard as as a gamer when it comes to putting effort into trying to build that kind of relationship with somebody and even going on like dating apps. Like, I will not swipe on a profile unless I think that they might be a nerdy type. And I explicitly put on my profile that, hey, I'm a gamer. I love Genshin Impact. I like Dead by Daylight. Like, and so if within the first like 30 seconds of us like matching together and us like having conversations, like if you tell me that you don't like gaming, like I know it's not going to ever turn into something, because while I can concede that not all gamers, necessarily like anime, because anime is also something that I really like, at the very least, gaming is such like or can be such a uh, collaborative and cooperative experience. And I feel like my deepest bonds come from gaming. And so I can't see myself building a relationship with somebody who I can't also game with.
um,
So I'm
wait,
single as fuck.
what kind of apps have you used, like dating apps?
I like Hinge the most
Hinge.
for dating.
I've
Hinge,
heard about that.
yes.
I've heard about that one actually. I feel
Yes.
like every time somebody
Highly
brings up dating
recommend.
apps, the first thing I think about is Tinder. That's like the first thing I think about.
Yeah.
And then it was like I didn't realize how many dating apps it was actually. Like it's actually like so many of them. But like, what's funny is that not to get off subject too much. I used to actually like make fun of people for using dating apps until like
Hmm.
I started like actually going out and like talking to people, and most of the people I meet like aren't gamers. So it's just kind of like even like certain uh places that I would go, like I would think like, oh yeah, like gamers would hang out here, like, but I will admit going to an anime convention was actually like a pot of gold. That shit was it was
Here's the
fantastic.
thing about anime conventions, though, right?
Hmm.
And this is what I like to say about people who like anime. Like, I want to say more often than not, if you have somebody who likes anime, they probably also like gaming. But I can't say that the reverse is true for gaming. Like, I don't think
Mm.
all gamers like anime, but I think there's a high chance of like a weeb liking some game or some type of game.
Yeah, definitely,
So,
definitely. So, but and also like with like time constraints, like dating apps just seem like not too much of a bad idea, because if you like work like a regular like job where that takes up like 8 hours of your day, and then let's say if you like work out or something, or you have like family things that you need to do, it's just like sometimes your time can be like very very like consumed. So I can definitely understand like the dating app thing. I couldn't before. Like before, I was just like, just go meet people for it.
Mm.
But that's not always the case.
Listen, if we match up and you're like, oh, hey, do you want to go mini golfing? I'm be like, no. Unless we're going out to eat food, like the only other thing I want to do is play games. So I'll go out to eat food with you, but afterwards, I'm just trying to play games.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my ideal of a good date, like gaming session.
And funny enough, you could actually like I never understood like the whole movie date thing, because like you can't really get to know the person watching a movie with them. You know what I mean?
You can
But
get to
Mm.
know them based on their movie suggestion. That'll tell you a
wait,
lot about a
wait.
person.
Put me on game. How? Let me. What movie suggestions would let you know that this is a good person?
Oh, well, I mean, it just comes down to taste, but like if you're talking to someone for the first time and they're like, "Hey, do you want to watch American History X?" Like
Oh.
probably a red flag. But if they're like, "What about Lord of the Rings?" You can be like, "Oh," but obviously it depends on your personal taste, like in
Right.
what you enjoy, but I think recommendation can be a good indicator of whether or not that person's someone you'll get along with.
I've actually never seen Lord of the Rings. Funny enough, like ever.
Oh, bro.
Ever. So yeah.
Also, I
Hmm?
believe in movie dates so long as there's a dinner component afterwards, either before or afterwards.
Mm.
Like, but yeah, just a straight up, we're going to the movies and we're leaving. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
So it's definitely better to watch the movie first, right?
Yeah, because then you can talk about the movie, right?
Right. Okay. I was
Yeah.
just making sure we was on the same page. I funny enough, I can't contribute much to the question because I've never dated a gamer, so I don't know what it's like. Everybody in my realm of love has not been a gamer. So, and I've talked to girls that were gamer, like a talking stage, but it never really blossomed into anything really, because I don't know, just unlucky, I guess. But now that I'm like older and I'm like figuring out a lot more about myself than I did like the last few years, that shit is a non-negotiable at this point. It's just,
Mm.
yeah, I spend too much time. It's part of my life. Like it's just, and even though I'm a person that does like going out, like I do like being physically active. That's one thing that I feel like that's not like super common with gamers, is physical activity. Like I actually like going to like I went like I forget, was it Siren that said, no, it was Maddie that said about going to the park and stuff. Like I wouldn't mind that actually, because sometimes you just need to like breathe in and just like chill for a bit and all that. So I don't mind it as much, but I definitely need the gaming aspect. Like for sure, I definitely need it.
I just don't
Um,
like being outside with bugs and shit.
yeah, no, I hate bugs too for sure. That's why I like the autumn
I don't
and
like
the
the
winter so
sun.
much. Oh, I mean, I don't
I
mind
don't
the sun.
either.
I
I glow in the dark. I'm so pale. Like
don't.
I
I don't.
don't interact with the sun.
I don't like. Okay, so what about like the frozen sun? Like, what if it's like winter and it snowed and then the sun's out? Like
Oh,
that.
no, I just don't like the sun. Nope,
What? That's
I'm a
so vibey
vampire.
though. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. All right. So, um, what do you guys think is like the biggest like misconception that you've like heard about like gamers? Like something that you've heard like someone say that doesn't game, that says about like gamers and shit like that, like the biggest or like even weirdest misconception, I guess you could say.
That they all like stink or don't take care of themselves or their space. There are those
That,
people.
mm,
but it's
Absolutely.
definitely not a generalization. But that the same can be said about like anyone of any interest category. But
Yeah.
all I'll say is I've met more like football players who stunk and didn't take care of anything around them than gamers.
Hey, you do got a point. I was just gonna say, like, boy, I went to the locker room, the football players, or even like walking around school, like, yeah, yeah. No, they definitely stink too. What about
Yeah,
you, Quinn?
mine was is like the
Oh, go ahead.
oh, please go. No, I was gonna say the obvious one that girls don't play video games.
Oh,
Oh,
yep.
I've like gotten that so many times, and like I had like the craziest conversation where like my brain could not compute, where I was streaming a game and this guy was just like I don't believe that you're a gamer because you're XYZ, you're like attractive and smart. Like attractive, smart girls don't play video games apparently in their world, in their mind. I'm just like, and I just like couldn't understand like what the fuck else would I be doing if I'm not playing a video game? Yoga? Reading a book? I mean, I guess I
yeah.
probably should read more books, but like I couldn't think of anything else I could possibly be doing. And he's like, "You're definitely a paid actor." I'm like, "I what?"
Not a
Like it was
paid
just the
actor.
craziest conversation.
And see, it's always that genre of gaming dude that'll be on Twitter like, "Oh, why can't I find a girl that plays games?" Hey, because you do that with every girl you interact with in a video game. No wonder you have zero game.
Jesus. Okay, Quinn, what you
It's
got?
crazy.
Misconception.
I think the biggest misconception that I hear are when people say like that game's easy. So many people that
Mm.
aren't really gamers will be like that game's so easy or like that game's not hard. Like a lot of people do that for League, but
Mm.
have no idea how complex and like how skilled like you can actually get in a game. So I would definitely say like non-gamers talking to somebody that's a gamer is
Yeah.
definitely when people say a game is easy, but you can tell they have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one.
Hey,
Uh
League's easy for me. I play Yumi.
oh my god.
See, like I would even like immediately be like, "Oh, so you're a challenger Yumi player?" And then I'd be like, "Oh, I guess Yumi's not that easy."
um I will say this too though. I think the the wildest, well, even though it is not popular, even though it is possible sometimes, I feel like the craziest thing that I've heard people say about gamers that is just like a completely all around like true thing is that they don't know how to like, especially I guess with guys, is that they don't know how to like get girls or be with girls or anything like that. I met plenty of gamers that like had girlfriends that talk, I've known some gamers that were some sluts. So so it was just like, oh, the fact that he plays games, like I know he don't get no ass, and it's just like
I've
if
definitely
only
fallen into
if
that category
if
of
only you
being like a slut.
if only you if only you, I would argue, and this is just me, I would argue that gamers have like the craziest libido. I honestly, like, but that's just me. I don't know. I feel like the my experience with like girls and guys that gamers don't play at all. Like when it comes to that whole thing, but that's just from like my like experience and this, that, and the third. So, but yeah, I think the final thing that I wanted to talk about, because I didn't want to take up too much time. We're actually almost like an hour and a half, and I didn't want to take up too much of you
We're
guys' time.
popping Joe Rogan times right now.
Hey, yeah, that's what I. But listen, I didn't know how long this was gonna go. I was like, maybe it'll be like 20 minutes. Siren was like 20 minutes. Yeah, you've never done this before, like. But my question, and this is just like something I was genuinely concerned about. Um, why is it that we're like the group that has like the most like, because we're okay, so with gaming we definitely do have like a community and people that are similar to us even over the years that like we've grown. But why do you think like typically our group is like always like very depressed? Because I feel like a lot of the times where I come across gamers, like most of them have or have had depression or been like feel like they were inadequate. Like, why do you guys think that is?
I feel like that's super easy for me to answer personally. Um, Shout out to Team PMA for spreading positivity, but I feel like majority of people that have depression or anxiety will usually branch out to something that gives them comfort. And video games can definitely become a comfort ground, especially if you're playing like solo player style games where you can get a sense of accomplishment. Sometimes people get depressed because they feel like they're kind of failing the world, or maybe they're failing their family or themselves, and there's tons of other reasons as well. But when you get into video games, you pretty much get like a sense of gratitude for yourself because you're accomplishing something. If you're beating a new boss level, or you caught a new Pokemon, or anything of the sort, like it's a flash of I did it. And some people that are extremely depressed don't really have that on a day-to-day basis. So it really benefits people to essentially have some type of source where they can feel good about themselves.
Mm,
And even people that are like extremely introverted and they might be depressed because they have social anxiety and stuff like that, branch out into gaming as a way to communicate and talk with people. And a lot of people that essentially are depressed usually stick to something that works for them. So I would say majority of the people that I know that do have like depression or anxiety that are gamers kind of all started out gaming as a way to get away from the real world and kind of be able to dodge and hide from their feelings,
right.
but almost became like a crutch for them in a sense. So instead of actually like working on their problems necessarily, they spent and dedicated a lot more time running away into video games. And
Mm.
that's more or less like the reasoning between the people that I've seen that I've noticed if they're gamers and they have depression, it's usually along the lines of that.
Oh, oh yeah. I mean, that makes actual total sense. That actually kind of sums up a
Yeah.
lot of it.
To add on to that, I feel like the interactivity of games makes it even more particularly easy to have that sort of escapist feel to it. Like, I'm sure there's other types of media that you just consume, but when you're like playing a game, there's that immersion factor that really lets you and it like allows for that disconnect from reality. Um, for good and for bad, but like I think it's definitely a source of comfort for a lot of people. Definitely me.
It's crazy because it's just like, you know how we talked about the misconceptions and stuff that people think, but I do believe that that depression thing is like literally like almost a staple for like our community. That's why I was like wondering, like, dang, why is it just like a staple for us? But
I don't
after,
think it is,
you don't think so?
personally. No,
Hmm.
I don't know if this is a hot take. I think I would be shocked if there was a person in the world that had not experienced at least some level of depression.
Hmm.
I think everyone goes through those feelings and the level of severity does differ, but everyone sometimes copes with things in unhealthy ways. There are people that dive into their jobs and like fully focus on working them. There are people who go to the gym and like just absolutely exhaust themselves as a distraction.
Hmm.
And for the people that get into gaming, it's that escapism. And like for myself personally, I found a lot of comfort in um like the fantasy stuff, like just like exploring a new world, like things that aren't really possible in our world. And it was definitely a distraction. And as time has gone on, and when I was younger, I would have disagreed with that. I would have been like, no, I'm just having fun. That's completely what it was. And that's where I think like continuously pushing myself as someone I've dealt with depression, anxiety my entire life from
Hmm.
a very young age. And if you talk to me like back in my freshman year of college, I was not capable of speaking in front of a classroom. I would have a full blown panic attack.
Oh
And
yeah.
as I got older, I decided to pick up streaming to push like myself a little bit and get outside of the introverted box I was in. I would only play games with my husband. Like wouldn't talk in party chats, wouldn't respond to messages. I was in my own world. And so I think putting myself in social situations within gaming, and putting myself out there and working on things I struggled with in the past, like speaking in front of people or meeting new people, has helped me in a lot of ways. Like gaming allowed me to do those things. So I don't think depression and gaming are like a causality of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone goes through stuff, and for gamers, like it can either be a good thing if you use it to introspectively look at things that you're struggling with and find ways to push it within an area that you're comfortable in, like gaming, or you can just like dive super deep into it and never get past the distraction piece of it, which I think is unhealthy, but it just depends.
Oh yeah, you do have a point. Like there is like definitely widespread depression between people. I think people are just better at like exercising like stoicism in different fields, uh, and they definitely like bury their depression in their like ambition, or they just instead of being down about it, they use that energy and transfer it into something that they can transfer it into. Like us, with us, it was gaming. With other people, it's like working 80-hour work weeks, 90-hour work weeks. Or with athletes, it's like, them practicing harder, or this, that, and the third. So, yeah, now you actually do have a point. I
I
really
would
did.
also like add in the fact that like depression is something that is way, way, way more common in modern day society than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And like the frequency in which that like people are being medicated or getting diagnosed with like depression or anxiety issues is like extremely off the charts in like the last 8 years.
Right.
So I would say majority of people just in general now have depression and anxiety, and some of those people are going to be gamers at the end of the day. So some of it is just kind of correlation and causation, and some of it is using it as a crutch. Like I feel like even if you took like a full football team or like a women's tennis team or anything, like there's still going to be a vast majority of them that have or still do suffer from anxiety and or depression, just as gamers do.
So crazy, man.
Mm.
It's actually so insane. Um. Okay. Well, I don't. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you for being here. I
Yeah,
definitely
thank you
will.
Thanks
for
for having
inviting
us.
me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, how this was. Because, like I said, it was definitely my first time trying something like this. But I can't, like, stress how much I appreciate you guys. Because this whole time that we've been doing this, I definitely have been kind of Monka-esque. just a little bit. But,
No,
And
I
to
can take
anybody
it.
hmm?
for anybody that decides to watch this and that checks this video out, you got to drop in the comments your favorite game or your favorite topic that
Oh, here
everybody
we go.
talked
Here
about.
we go. Here we go. Hey, listen, he helping me out. Hey, listen, Quinn, I appreciate you. I
And don't forget
appreciate
to
it.
like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, definitely subscribe. And I'm gonna leave everybody's socials in the description. Feel free to follow them, show them some love. Once again for the third time, thank you guys so much for doing this for me. And
Oh,
maybe
can
in the
I add one?
future.
This
Huh?
this video is sponsored by Genshin Impact.
Oh
You can
my.
download it.
Not
Just
like
kidding.
this.
Just kidding.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But if you guys enjoyed this content, please leave comments, let me know what you think about everything we discussed. And until next time.